Whether you love what you do or you're counting down the minutes till the weekend, your job plays a huge part in your life. And welcome back to another hashtag Run For Not From, and it is week 14. So we've been going now for a good few months. I'm really pleased with how everything's going out so far. I'm really enjoying it and I'm loving talking about these topics. But as always, hashtag Run For Not From is about running for your problems and not from them. It's not about time, it's not about distance, there's no PBs, we don't talk about anything like that. It's just about getting in the outdoors. Somewhere lovely like this helps. When the sun's shining, when it's raining, when it's snowing, we don't care. We just get out and we do it. And this week, the more observant of you will notice that I'm not running. And that's for two reasons. And that is I've got a really stinking cold, which really floored me yesterday. And also playing football a couple of days ago, I have got a very sore black for big toe, which if you're not squeamish, and this is your warning now, I'll put it on the screen now for you to have a little look at. So I'm waiting for that nail to drop off, in all honesty. So I'm living the words that I preach, which is that it doesn't matter what you're doing, it is just important that you do get out here and you do something for you, because it really helps, you know. Just get outside, breathe that fresh air. It is a scorching one today. I think we're about 32 degrees here. Already got, oh, we've been followed by a bee. But yeah, so this week's topic, we're going to be talking about jobs, the jobs that you have, the jobs that you need, and then also going on to sort of like the dream job, the big jobs that we want to sort of work towards and how they sort of help us along the way. So I hope you enjoy. So why do jobs even matter? And I think it's a funny question to think about, because why do they matter? And if you look on the surface level, I think you could probably say, well, you need them. You need them to live, you need them to pay bills, put food on the table, you need them just to survive, really. It's a survival instinct. You need to work to live. And although that's true, and I completely agree with that, I think there's a lot more to jobs than people realise, you know? I think work can be a place for you to feel like you have a purpose, to feel useful. I think as humans, we need to feel useful. We need to have a purpose, or else we'll just go insane, you know. Think about all the times in your life when you're getting bored, when you're getting agitated. It's because you don't have a direction, you know, you don't have an outlet for all this sort of internal energy. And then you also have to think about it's really good for your mental health. It's a good point of sociability. You might find your friends there. You might even find your partner, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your whatever. You know, so I think they are much more important than just money and survival. They give us a lot more than we sort of give credit for. But it's really important to know that your job is just your job. I know that not all jobs are fulfilling. You know, you're not all enjoying your work out there. I think probably the majority of people in the world aren't enjoying the work that they are doing. That's very sad. But I think we need to really put that into perspective and look into how we cope if you're not in your dream job, and also gain a bit of perspective of what your dream job might be, you know, because you don't always have to like your job, but you do have to respect it. You have to think it's not your end game. You don't always have to be there, you don't always have to live there. It could potentially be a stepping stone, and maybe for the temporary time it is for survival. You know, it's a privilege to really think about moving jobs because you want to find a better job. Some people can't get a job, you know, so be grateful for where you are and how far you've come, and understand that a job is a privilege, and a lot of people would really kill to be where you are. But I think there's some strategies that if you are currently in a job that you're not enjoying, or you're just sort of not seeing the point of, then there's definitely some things that you can be doing. And I think the first thing is you need to reframe your perspective of what the job is. You know, is what is the job teaching you? You know, is it teaching you patience? Is it teaching you discipline? Is it teaching you what you don't want to do? Which I think is just as important as what you do want to do. I think I decided from quite an early age that I never really wanted a conventional office-based job. I've simply just got too much energy. I like people too much. But but I understood that there were some limitations for not going into that 9 to 5 sort of workspace, that I was be giving up some sort of other parts of my time. So I work on sociable hours. Sometimes I get up at 4 in the morning, sometimes I'm working till 11 o'clock at night. And I'm fine with that because my job is extremely interactive. I think the second thing that you can do is really set boundaries. Don't let your work consume you. When you're finished, you're finished. Turn that work phone off, turn off the laptop. If your colleagues do have your sort of private number, you don't have to reply until you're working again. Don't feel pressured into doing that. I think when you take your work home with you, you feel like you never sort of switch off. I think you need to clock in, do your work, do your best, and when you clock out, you clock out. I think it's really important that you do work your hardest, even if the job's not necessarily your dream job, because for some people you're working with, it might be more important to them than it is to you. And you being that weak link or that sort of broken cog in the machine is just going to get them to resent you. And if they resent you, the workplace is going to become sort of tense, and it's going to be even harder for you to work there. So it's always worth your while to work your hardest. Okay. And then I think thirdly, use that work that the job that you're doing that you maybe not enjoying, use it as fuel, use it as financial fuel, and use it as opportunity fuel. When I say financial fuel, if you're in the privilege of being able to put some money away, and I think most people are, there's some expenses that you don't necessarily need to pay, some sort of like things that maybe you could sacrifice in the short term to save up, and that gives you a bit of sort of like financial freedom. And when I mean opportunity fuel, I mean you never know who you're going to meet in your job, and you never know who you're working with, and it can lead to so many more opportunities in the future that you can't even realize. And then finally, if you're just really not finding anything from within your work currently other than pure survival and finances, you need to find meaning outside of sort of life, outside of work, I mean. And fourth, you need to find meaning outside of work, in your hobbies, in your passions, in your relationships, things that you can be doing that are not linked to your work in the slightest, but do make you happy and might not necessarily lead to anything. For me, it's this, you know, I'm not saying I don't enjoy my job, but this has given me purpose. This has given me ideas and an outlet outside of my life that has really made me passionate about something. And I think that's very important to put in perspective as well. The dream job, the thing that you've always wanted to do, maybe the thing you've always wanted to become. And I think so many people talk about doing what you love, but never quite go into how they started doing what they love. Because I do believe wholeheartedly that dream jobs are built, not found. And I think they are built by starting small, being patient, taking strategic risk along the way, and then really defining the dream early on. As you get older, your dream job might change, and it probably will change. And you need to accept that that's not failure. It's just an evolution of who you are. Your human curiosity has opened your eyes to new and different opportunities along the way. Because I think, particularly where I live, and particularly, frankly, everyone from my generation, the dream was always to be a professional footballer. I feel like everyone's always wanted to do that. And it's probably the same around the world. I've always wanted to be a professional footballer. And it's only as you get older you soon realise why you're not a professional footballer. It's because you weren't good enough, mainly. And it's because you weren't good enough from a young enough age. So you've already missed that opportunity. But there's nothing stopping you from having a career in football. You know, there's nothing stopping me from having a career in football. It wouldn't be as a professional footballer. It just wouldn't be, I'm 25 years old, I've never been good enough, and I'll never be able to get to that standard to be good enough. But there's nothing stopping me from becoming a professional football manager, an agent, a coach, a physiotherapist, you know? So that could become part of your dream. And I think that curiosity and that open to evolution is the difference between people who do find their dream jobs and people who don't, you know? And sort of on that same vein, I like to talk about Gordon Ramsay, because he lived the dream. He became a professional footballer for a short period of time before he had a very nasty career-ending injury very young. But people often forget about that because his change of path was completely the other direction. Professional footballer to the best and most well-known chef ever. And so he was always destined to be extraordinary. I think he knew it within himself, and I think that's brilliant. That sort of tenacity of, I'm going for excellence. Whatever field I'm going to go into, I'm going to be the best. And I think unequivocally, he's probably going to go down as the most famous chef of all time. So whether you're grinding away at a job you don't love or working towards a vision that just seems far away, it all counts. Respect your work, protect your vision, but know that work is work, and life's out here. Life's for living, and you need to follow your passion, you need to follow your dreams. In the comments, I want you to let me know what work you're currently doing. Where do you work? What's the role? Tell me about your dream job as well. If you're retired, tell me what job you used to do. I want to know. And if there is that dream, if there is that vision in your mind, write in the comments how you're going to get there. What are you going to do every single day to make that dream a reality? Manifest it into reality, because if you do that, it will become real. Don't let your dreams just sit on the sideline. You need to take action now, and it's never too late to start. Funnily enough, I had a conversation with my boss just the other day about the founder of KFC, Colonel Sanders, who didn't start KFC until he was in his 60s. So it's never too late to start. Please follow your vision. And if you've liked this video so far, please like, please subscribe, and leave those comments about what work you're doing. Because every week we do this, we talk about a different topic in life, something that moves me, something that moves you, and that you're passionate about. And certainly my favorite part of each video is the quote of the week. So every week we have a correlating quote that sort of means something and connects to the video as a whole. And this week, because we're talking about jobs, where better than Steve Jobs himself, the founder, the co-founder and CEO of Apple Computers. He died in 2011 after quite a few medical complications, but he was renowned within the personal computer space. And I mean, let's be honest, you probably all have owned a device of his at some point in your life. And this quote from Steve Jobs is all about finding what you love to do. And it goes something like this: as with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. Let me know what you think.